welcome to my video. These are going to be my thoughts on Season 1, Episodes 1 and 2 of Agatha All Along. Now, I am... the two episodes are called Seekest Thou the Road and Circle Soon with Fate, Unlock Thy Hidden Gate. Now, I am not intending to split them up separately as I've done in earlier videos talking about multiple episodes. I am just gonna do both for reasons. So, spoilers for everything MCU leading up to and including both of these episodes. Absolutely loved these two episodes. The show is rated TV 14, I think it's called. And so will this video be. So yeah, let's dive right in. So, oh right, and yeah, as I had suspected a little bit, this is very focused on sort of feminine, it is very much by, for, and about women. And, I'm not saying that's a problem. Obviously, it's about witches. Witches traditionally seen as a feminine thing. I'm just saying there's probably stuff I'm going to miss, but I'm going to do my best. Based on what I've learned from listening to feminist women here on YouTube. Yes, let's dive right in. So, yeah, I quite like that the first episode, for a lot of it, does kind of play as... I mean, it's a sequel to WandaVision. They kind of had to. In Doctor Strange 2, they also had, a little bit that was very reminiscent, including the theme song played briefly. So, yeah. But that does, of course, bring up comparisons. And I can't help but note that when Wanda... was in a TV show that she had created based on her wants and needs. It was a friendly, safe 50s sitcom where she and Vision were just a happy married couple. And when Agnes is left on her own, because this is technically still, let's see, I suppose it's not quite the same, but it is Wanda's magic. When Wanda left, Agnes was looking like the nosy neighbor. And now that she's been left on her own, what did they say, 3 years? It's been 3 years. It's this true crime mystery, which, I understand is very popular with women, and I've come to understand it is basically that it makes women feel more safe. They feel like if they can recognize the signs of a killer. And I honestly, I have to admit, I have very little experience with true crime. It's just not really my kind of thing. I really only see it when it pops up. It's in this, it's in... what's it called? Halloween 2018, that's pretty much when it pops up in other stuff that I'm watching for other reasons. But yeah, women see it as a way to feel safer because they recognize the signs from, taking in all this true crime content that tells them, this is how this person killed, because it is very frequently men killing women. Again, from what I understand. Not from experience with the genre. But yeah, Agatha's version of the... I guess I can't even call it the Hex, can I? Because it's technically no longer the Hex. But her version of it is this... What's the word? Yeah. There's a killer and there's a mystery and she's trying to figure out what's going on. So that's her trying to claw her way out. yeah, I quite like that, and we get several cameos. Several of the various Westview residents pop up very very briefly, and let's see. Yeah, and in various ways that work with the investigation. Some are like cops, some are contacts, and yeah, they have information, this sort of thing. Yeah, for example, we meet Norm, who's like there's like a cash for gold sign in the back of the establishment. I don't like the new Norm, but then I hear that's pretty common. I hear it's a pretty terrible show. I'm never going to watch it myself, trust me, but yeah, it sounds hilariously bad. Like, wow. I think at some point you just cut your losses. Like, conservatives, you're not good at this. You're not funny, like, at all. So maybe, like, I mean, if you want to keep embarrassing yourselves, we'll laugh, but it won't be with you. Let's see. Yeah, I liked, librarian rule, all about the rules, and so yeah, Agatha, yeah, she skips ahead in line, and then when she seemingly can't get more help, oh, it wasn't lent, it was stolen. Where were you between the hours of 1 and 3? Just yeah, that was pretty funny, and I guess I could look up the title. I guess you could, yeah, that was an option. And let's see. Then we have yeah, and she goes to where it's supposed to be, but it's all burnt, and it looks somewhat similar to where the Darkhold really was lost, and she does realize later that the book was definitely the Darkhold. What's the word? It's got like the abbreviation of the full title comes out to Darkhold. And I love how in the library, when she sees that it's burned, there's this guy behind her, and he's like, "There was a fire," and for a second you might be like, "Why are we whispering?" But oh yeah, right, library. That's a nice way to fit in that creepy little thing there. Yeah. Let's see. Then we have I think that brings us to the part she's not gonna like, and Aubrey Plaza walks in like, "That's my cue," and it's yeah. I'm so glad she's on the show. I've said previously that I'd watch Catherine Hahn and Aubrey Plaza play pretty much anything, appear in pretty much anything. The two of them together, magic. And let's see. Yeah, I like how there's some antagonism between them in the actual when Agatha's under the spell, and then when she comes out of it, Aubrey's trying to straight up murder her. Let's see, and yeah, the little bit of bonding where she talks about what the rookie said, TikTok and all this stuff. And right, and apparently, like, under the spell, she thinks she lost a Nicholas Scratch. Now, in WandaVision, Mr. Scratch is the rabbit, and the yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's supposed. They talked about no, yeah, because it's a kid. There's like children's drawings. Like on the show, there's mentions of My Husband Ralph. It turns out to be Ralph Boner, and a little knob gag for those so inclined, including myself. And yeah, it's it helps explain why she's so down. She's missing something, and in reality, it's not a. Well, I suppose it could be a child. We don't know yet, but in reality, certainly, at least in part, it's her powers. I like getting confirmation that it is indeed she can only steal witches' powers if they blast her with it. That is consistent with WandaVision. She has to provoke people into that. I think that might more or less cover episode 1. Yeah, it was great when she's at the morgue and it's like, there's, okay, clearly there was supposed to be an attendant there, but, no one's there right now. And, she goes in, body's right there, and look, yeah, looks at the thing and it just says W Maximoff. Oh, right. Ah, crap. I completely forgot the interrogation was also great. Yeah, I'll do the interrogation and then return to the morgue. If I had a nickel for every time I said those words. The Yeah, that was a great little moment. So do you often is B&E your because you kind of suck at it, which is it's true. He was making way too much noise. Yeah. Let's see, and yeah, and he started doing it before she was even asleep. Like there's pretty much no way he couldn't have gone. But yeah. And we find out when she's out, oh, it was less of an arrest and more of a kidnapping. Whoops, which does, yeah, the chanting in Latin. That's why she put the tape over his mouth. He was trying to like maybe break the spell, maybe use magic to get out of being, tied up, something like that. But yeah, the thing with total loser or totally lying. That was pretty funny, and it was the closest we got to like sitcom Agatha, which I really appreciate. Like, just she's a chameleon. She completely disappears into the role. Like, if this was the first thing you watched that had Agatha in the MCU, you would probably assume, oh, this is just she's always a true crime detective. This is what And the yeah. Let's see. What was the other thing that I? Yeah, she shows the pictures, and he's like, "It's just flowers. It's like someone's yard. Why do you keep looking at that painting? Because Aubrey isn't really there." Let's see, but yeah, yeah, at the morgue, she manages to claw her way out of the spell, going through the various, she's got the one where there's like naughty written on her pants from the Malcolm in the Middle episode. She's got the jazzercise outfit from the 80s, I want to say, episode. And, yeah, ends up looking like she did in the very first episode. And then tears off, wakes up, and I understand that I think I'm gonna in like Wicca, I'm aware that there is something about like female nudity, which I believe is like a thing of like getting in touch with nature, which makes a lot of sense. And that was probably one of the reasons that people were, really upset by it. They thought, oh, a woman can't be naked in front of anyone other than her husband, in which case she should be naked whenever he wants her to be, and completely not have any agency or not be able to withdraw consent at all. But that's also something I have to admit I did not realize for a very long time. I did not realize, but apparently Wicca is like early feminism, and that was, yeah, back then they executed them for it, and now they're well, some are still calling for it. There was this one person on, I want to say, Newsmax, who said that Taylor Swift should be executed. So yeah, but yeah, the social cost, they're still trying to make it so that if a woman embraces feminism, it completely destroys her life in a different way than patriarchy does. And if she embraces that. Yes. Let's see. But so the nudity, that is part of what's going on there. And because it's the MCU and they can only go for so long without a joke, they turn it into an ENF gag. But yeah, that is one thing I will definitely say I really appreciate. They're not like constantly undermining, like they're going for this aesthetic and like the whole witch vibe thing. Like there's some jokes and such, but they're not really holding back on making things really creepy. I think that covers all of episode 1. So let's see, episode 2. Yeah, I actually have already slipped some in. I watched them one right after the other, so you know. But yeah, episode 2, covered some stuff already. Yeah, we're told, the every so often the Westview residents would bring her groceries and such to take care of her, which I gotta say they're incredibly forgiving. Both, Wanda, now Agatha, like these are really incredibly patient people. Like I'm not saying they should like let her starve to death, but that's still 3 years where they'll bring her groceries and just kind of, you know what, they're kind of treating it as like as if they're dealing with a mental health patient that has been denied proper care from like professionals, and they're doing the best they can. I really appreciate that. Yeah, that's honestly because they're, that he said, every so often you would come by and you would say something weird, and yeah, that's, yeah, um that's yeah, really appreciate that level of empathy. Also really love how it's kind of saying, women are stronger together, which is again a Wicca thing and a feminism thing, and yeah, really appreciate that. There's those lines about, witches are stronger together and that sort of thing. I really love the buddy comedy dynamic between her and he who shall not be named. Like, I guess I won't say who a lot of us think he is, just in case, but yeah, it's pretty. I did like that. As someone who has ADHD, I do seriously relate to he says his name twice, and she's still like, you know what? I'm just, she's just pretending like she heard it and just giving him nicknames. Toto. I don't think we're in Kansas anymore. And yeah, and also when he's like giving his background, she also can't hear, and she tests. Oh, it's not her hearing because she can hear herself snap. She can hear the music on the radio. He's very, very patient that he doesn't stop talking when she turns on the radio. Is he just used to being more or less ignored like that? But yeah. Let's see, yeah, fantastic fight between Agatha and Aubrey. And there's some people who, this like thing of Aubrey Plaza, like wearing black, looking slightly goth, busting down your door, coming at you with a knife. Some people would pay for that. And let's see, yeah, and we see that she has like healing spit. So maybe she's related to Steven Universe. I don't know. And she licks the hand. The wound heals. But yeah, and she says, if you blast me, it would kill me. Because she's that strong, and Agatha is currently that depowered. And that's also really, really cool. We were wondering exactly how this show was gonna go. The idea that, seeing Agatha without power, because we saw what she was like with tremendous power. So if she started this show with a lot of power, it would be like, we've seen that before. We gotta do something new if you're gonna tell a new story here. I think that might more or less cover that chunk of it. But yeah, they go in search of a coven, and nice little bit of convenient writing that there will always be a coven within, was it within a 3-mile radius or something like that. That's, yeah. I like that she makes him pay, because, fair enough, he does have a debit card, evidently. She has absolutely nothing, she technically doesn't exist according to the system. Right, I like the couple of times we see like blackened fingertips. You know, it's on Wanda. It's not on Agatha, and it's on in the possibly also in no, I think it was only in the under the spell, but on, I guess we'll just call him Teen. That's what he is credited as right now. And right, I like the little bit of, so she is dead. Oh, she's totally dead. Well, you never know, because like it's Marvel, no one stays dead except for Uncle Ben. And that is also something, yeah, it's hypothetically Wanda could come back, If she does, I really don't want her to like take away focus from Agatha on this show, but I wouldn't mind, like, maybe they could do like at the end of the last episode they could do a post-credit scene that shows, oh, she's coming back or something. I actually have no idea if Elizabeth Olsen is interested in doing more. I've heard some say that, in some ways it's been good for her career, in other ways it's kind of held her back being in the MCU. Now, yeah, the encounters with the various witches are just really, really great stuff. Let's see. Oh, right, yeah, and over the course of it, she also sees a couple of animals that, I'm pretty sure are supposed to be like, bad omens. There's a crow, and I like, I don't know if it's like Animal Wrangler or CGI or just good luck or what, but like when we first see the crow, it is kind of looking off to the side. Although, wait, can birds see ahead? I actually don't know particularly because their eyes are kind of on the side. Anyway, but it like turns to face her. I'm just imagining it's going like, so, lady, you need someone brought back from the dead to avenge the death of a loved. Let me know, okay? And later there's a rat. It's like, I let go of my rage and now I'm no longer stuck in a cage. If only. And later still there's the wolf staring right at her, and it's like, why did you only feed my twin? I'm starving here. But yeah, the she gets her fortune read and is like, no, I read up on you, and she puts on quite the act there. And that was also a thing, like the various women who joined the coven, I suppose not all of them, but some of them have jobs that are seen as the kind of things that you expect women and not men to do. So, we've got a fortune teller. Crap, is that, I'm not up on, is psychic, I guess is the right word. I mean, no offense. Let's see. And yeah, one of them is like selling beauty products. Yeah, several. Yeah. Let's see. Then we have the yeah. She goes in and the psychic reading thing, and then she goes in, confronts her, says, are you really happy with this being your entire life? Let's see. Right, I like how Teen is like, he's got some power. I wonder where it came from. And there's also this, like, what's the word? He lacks experience, basically. It's a Hawkeye sitch, basically. And let's see. Yeah, when she goes into the beauty, she's like, I really need a jade egg. I mean, Gwyneth Paltrow has shown she's been able to laugh at jokes like that before. This is not the first time she'd be laughing at a joke about goop. And I'm also not entirely sure she's going to appear in anything MCU henceforth. So, but yeah, and oh, my kegel, my pelvic muscles are a mess. The What do you say we share one? Sisterhood of the Traveling Kegel? Wow. Um, let's see. And yeah, at first she just turns them away, but then Teen has looked her up, and oh, there's a bunch of lawsuits, and I do appreciate, for a while it seemed like, okay, I'm not saying that the guy in the women's show has to get to do much, but if he's gonna have this much screen time, you gotta give him something to do, so he's not just being drug around. He almost is her pet for a while. Like he drives her, but other than that, she's just taking him places and telling him stuff. But yeah, here he really comes through because Agatha doesn't have a phone. Again, doesn't really exist on paper or off it, and except on TV, and the yeah. It was also, when he's like, oh, can you write that down for me? We all knew that she was going to throw something away. I was a little worried that she was going to throw his entire notebook away, but she did just throw the pen away. And then it's like, oh, should I take the notebook away? No, you know what? I'll remember it. Let's see. That brings us to... oh, right. Now that I've talked about episode 1, let's see, is there anything interesting trivia on IMDb? When Agnes asks Herb if the victim in the woods is dead, he replies that she is really most sincerely dead. This echoes a line from The Wizard of Oz regarding the Wicked Witch of the West. Yeah. There's been references to the Wizard of Oz. She looked like the one of the dead Wicked Witches, the one from the start, the one that gets crushed by a house at the end, at the beginning of the end, at the start of the finale of WandaVision. And there's Wizard of Oz drawing in the ending credits. And let's see. Oh, yeah. So this one, I don't know if anybody needed this spelled out, but someone put the thing about Darkhold abbreviation, is the abbreviation of the But someone pointed out, also the author, Andrew Hugo, is an anagram of Wundagore, which is where Wanda buried herself alive with the Darkhold. Let's see. And someone else also added, sometimes IMDb trivia are kind of redundant. Someone else added the Darkhold lettering thing. Let's see. But yeah, there we go. Yeah. What was the other thing that I wanted to say? Yeah, I like the conflict between the various witches. They're not super happy to see each other, but they will work together. The getting the names. I'm sorry. Okay, let's see. It's gotta be here somewhere. Alice. Getting Alice fired. It's this thing because we see Agatha pinch something, slip it into Teen's pocket, and tells him to run. She trips him, the alarm goes off, and then, by the time that the other guard comes over, Alice has looked away from Teen for just long enough that Agatha managed to take it back out of the pocket. Yeah, gets her fired, so she really has nowhere, what else are you going to do, kind of thing. Right, the Salem 7, we briefly see one of their faces, which had, a bit of an orc thing going on, and otherwise, they have very much of a ring wraith thing going on. Not to the point where it just feels, derivative and tired, but... yeah, I quite appreciated that. The noises they make, the how intimidating they're made with camera work and editing and such. They also multiply at an alarming rate. And let's see, I think that brings us to the meeting at the house. I like how Teen, he's just excited. He's just jazzed about being on the show, man. So he like hung up a thing, and he's like, would you like an appetizer? They're expired granola bars. I didn't have a lot of time to prepare. Just right. There were some mentions of the witches' ages and how old they look and this sort of thing, which I understand is also considered like a feminine thing. Let's see. I think that does bring for now, I guess I'll call her Mrs. Hart, because that is what she's credited as. She's acting like this really is, I mean, Miss Davis in reality, but yeah, outside of the hex. But she's acting like she's not really a witch, and I'm thinking it's going to be revealed later that she is. But yeah, that is a... I don't think they needed to cut to her dancing during the song, which was amazing, by the way. That was everything I hoped for. We already knew that there was going to be at least one performance of The Road, which, like, earlier when, I think it's Teen who's asked, how did you come by The Road? I kind of want him to add, to like, answer, well, first I watched the movie. I personally think they could have cast me instead, but whatever. Then I listened to the audiobook, which is good, but I don't know, I like the movie better. But Mrs. Hart, it was funny the first time it cut to her like dancing while everyone else is super serial, but afterwards, but I'm kind of liking how I'm thinking it's gonna be like she's trying to lower their guard or something. I like the detail that they're experts at different things. I think that might be right. So now that they're on the road again, they seek the road, the only road they've ever known. Obviously, they're going to have to do something. If the Salem 7, and I'm just going to look up her name instead of saying the actress's name over and over, Rio, Aubrey Plaza's character, for them to get there, there's something's going to have to, happen in some way. But I'm thinking something is going to happen that allows them to pop up. There's no way they're going to introduce such cool characters and then not use them more than they have by now. I feel like there's something else. Really liking it so far. I'm glad they dropped both episodes today. If we had only gotten the first episode, that would already have been a really good, it would have given us enough, I feel. But yeah, appreciate they did both. Now we know, they're definitely, hitting the road. Let's see, and I can't help but notice that they were only able to access the road once there was some more conflict, and when Agatha says some cruel things to them, then the road opens. I'm thinking there's something there, and let's see. I feel like there was something else. Okay, I have at least one more thing, but maybe I'll end on that. So I'll just see if there was. But yeah, really, really dig how they're really embracing this whole witch thing. It reminded me of The Craft, for example, and not just because they have one of the epic clips of it in the ending credits. And let's see, yeah, just it feels like supernatural witch-based horror more than like MCU. Like there's the MCU jokes, there's some yeah, some references that feel very MCU, but overall it feels like a sprinkling of MCU across more of just its own thing. Like, if this was a movie and it had nothing to do with the MCU, I feel like it would probably, oh, can't believe, am I seriously blanking on his name? Holy crap. Okay, well, the guy who directed the first Sinister and at least helped write the second. I feel like he would be the one directing it, something like one of his, like Sinister, Deliver Us from Evil, that sort of thing. Yeah, I think that is everything. Yeah, so for my international audience, which, I don't think I have a lot of fellow Danes subscribed. I know of at least one, but international viewers, let me know when the opening and yes, I believe opening credits for the first episode, which they did a wonderful job on that, by the way, and they did a true crime version of The Witch's Road, just fantastic. Just, yeah, the editing, everything just really sold. Like, if you saw that, if you didn't pay attention to the text, you saw that completely out of context, you would assume it was like a proper true crime show, not a show within a show. But when it brought up WandaVision, which was also a great little, because yeah, technically this is a remainder of WandaVision, a leftover thing from Wanda's curse spell. Because for me, it said, based on the Danish, I forget, TV series WandaVision, I think it was something like that. Was that like localized because I'm Danish watching it in Denmark? Or does it say that anywhere in the world you watch it? Because, I mean, we do make a bunch of crime shows. That is one of the things. If you've internationally heard of a show from Scandinavia, there's some percentage chance that it's like a crime solving show of some kind.